Maybe we know the market's going to support the size and the type of services. We know there's a market for it. Where do you start going next?
So as far as location, are we talking
Not
about? Are we
location,
talking about
not
my vision on the inside?
In the vision. Not inside, just
The brand.
in general. Okay.
So the vision is the brand. So then we start coming up with names. And that also plays into everything else. I mean, the name of the salon gives me the look of the salon a lot of times.
Right.
Or they work hand in hand. You know, we might have one versus the other. I mean, it's really hard to come up with a cool name.
Yeah.
But so that's where I go next. But that's always the part that I love. And I think, you know, you have your strong suits and things that you do really well. And these are the things that I do really well. And it doesn't have to be that way. But that's where I go. I start building out the salon in my head.
Right. No, I think you're right. I think once you've got maybe some foundational pieces for services and, you know, the size salon we're going to start looking at, then we spend a ton of time. It's almost like naming your children, naming a business. It is just like it.
It is.
I mean, you go through lists and lists, and even once you start to pare down that name of lists, then you're turning that name or set of names into a logo, and that becomes just as iterative with a graphic designer or whatever that may look like. But I do think that is the next step that we get into, because after that, then we start looking at the space that can support this brand.
Yes.
And again, sometimes we've inherited brands and modernized that a bit. I'd say the majority of salons are brand new renames, you know, and I think honestly, probably going forward, even unless it was really, really well-known salon name, we'll probably rebrand it, you know, likely. So I guess talk a little bit about that. How do you go through the process of even looking at names, thinking about what that brand is going to look like? I want to know artistically what goes on in your head as you start to see that stuff, because we do a lot of debating. We talk about names every single night, and then I come up with as many dumb names as I can come up with, you know, make myself laugh. Yeah. But then I come up with some good ones too.
And then sometimes we merge words that you come up with and words that I come up with, and we put them together and come up with a name. But yeah, I look at every business name around. I'm on the internet nonstop. I'm always looking at logos and other names, and we're just literally Googling, you know, words that start with this letter and stuff like that. And so that's usually how you and I do it. Yep. We just go back and forth, and then one word will stick, and then we'll just try a million other words with it, and then that one might get tossed out, and we'll ask family just for fun, and that doesn't usually help us much, but sometimes it does, and it could. So there's always a chance, but we go back and forth, like, and this will take us months to find, you know, and then we have to make sure that there isn't one of those. If the name that we pick, if it's Desert Blonde, we have to make sure there's not 100 Desert Blonde salons around, right?
Right. Yeah, you want something unique for sure, as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, because based just on the name, if you have an awesome name, and I know because this has happened to me, you will get clients based just on the name. I mean, I get them just on Desert Blonde because, I picked the name because I am the Desert Blonde, but some people think I just do blondes. And so they come here because of that, or, you know, so it really has a big play on your whole business is what you name your salon.
What you name it and what the logo is. So those two things, because I think even while we don't have a name, you start pulling inspiration from other logos, not names we're going to have, but fonts and symbols and whatever else. I mean, I'm just mad you haven't gone with some of my ideas like Bob's Hair Shop and Get Your Hair Did. Neither of those are still available out there if you want to use them, because I think they're dope, but no.
I don't recommend them, so.
Yeah. I mean, we can still debate those for the next salon. They're still in play as far as I'm concerned. Do you remember what's the dumbest salon name that we ever came up with?
Oh my gosh. That we came up with?
Well, okay, I
was going to say, it definitely was not a we thing.
Because you'll just keep your dumb ones to yourself.
Yeah, well, that's what I would tell you, too. So when we're looking at salon names and we're going through them, then you like to be the funny guy, and then you throw out...
Like to be? I am the funny guy. I invented the funny guy.
Okay. So you'll throw out these random, just really dumb names. And then that's all you can focus on. And so I absolutely hate it. Just so you know, if we do this again, do not do that to me anymore.
Husbands, partners, however you're working together on the salon, one of my favorite things to do is just drive along and see street signs and then put the name salon at the end. like Thompson Peak Salon, or
I know, it's so helpful too.
yeah. And then every word that you see, LA Fitness.
I'm gonna give you
salon.
one of
Wait, they
these.
got a salon. Yeah, give me one of those.
Yeah.
Yes. So name, brand, very important.
Important.
I think that needs a whole episode, because we've got a lot of stuff to talk about for how we work through that.
You just want to give them more of your names, and they're not going to use them.
That's true.
They're not going to use them. They're
I
not
will
going
put
anywhere.
a list together of some of my best names that Amy has vetoed since day one. I'm sure I've got them in my phone.
We're supposed to be helping.
Yes, that's true.
Okay.
There's some good names out there.
Yes.
Well, good. So to kind of summarize where we got through today, and there's so much on vision, and we'll kind of show how the ping pong balls kind of bounce off each other with all the different pieces that we put into our salon strategy. Focus on the type of services, focus on the size of salon, know what you got capacity to take on. Yes. And again, if you know you're at a spot where you're looking to take on that big salon, and there's aspects of it that you really like, go for it.
Yes.
There's no issue in that, but pay attention to size, because that is an important thing. And then finally, we'll start getting into the brand. So I'd say those are the top 3 things as we start getting out and exploring, looking at locations and all this other stuff that we'll get into. I really think that's where you got to start from a vision perspective.
That's where we've always started.
Yep.
And that molds everything else.
It does.
And sets us up for success. So that's definitely where you got to start.
Excellent. Well, awesome. Excited to get into more related to vision. Excited to get into more related to, we've got this volume framework: vision, opportunity, location. You can't stay away from location, because you start to get obsessed with that too.
I do.
After a while.
Well, because like I said, they kind of all start to blend together, and that one just keeps pulling in all my other categories.
It does. So, if there's an opportunity to talk about location, are we talking about money? Oh, location.
Yeah. What about
Are we
the
talking about
location?
Execution? Location.
Yeah.
We'll get there. We'll get to
Yes.
location.
Yes. I'll try to calm it down.
Everything you see is location.
Yes.
So I get it. It's an important part. But location, certainly, we talked about the money aspect. We talked about the execution of it. So we'll be providing this framework as we talk through this. But right now, really heavily focused on the vision, because if you don't know where you're heading, you're just going to go buy something, or you're just going to go do something, and you're going to make bad decisions, because you're not always going back to the V. Always go back to the vision and all the aspects that go under it. And we probably got half a dozen other things that are full-on episodes just around the aesthetic, around the clientele, around the customer experience. I mean, we spend so much time talking about customer experience and clientele,
very, very important.
Services. Those things all feed each other as well. So awesome job today. Appreciate the insight, and looking forward to the next one.
Yes, me too.
Bye.
Bye.